Is Utica Councilman Bill Phillips. William, Bill, good morning.
Good morning.
So we wanted to get into a couple of issues. I know that you were answering questions about whatever you can answer on the Chief Brooks issue last night. Can we start with Chief Brooks? What is the latest, and what are your thoughts on all this?
Well, the latest is that, and as far as, I'm concerned, we've talked with the attorneys from the Corporation Council, and as far as commenting on the process itself, they asked us to refrain from that, in fear of legal implications. But as far as Mr. Brooks, Chief Brooks, listen, he's a great public servant. I call him an American hero just because of his service that he put in and the love for the country and its city.
Right.
So, Bill, I guess what I'm saying, I'm friends with both the mayor and Russ, and there's a lot of positive going on in the city. I've heard some personal stuff, which all I know is they both have been competitive on the basketball court against one another.
Yes, they have. Yeah.
And that's a fight in itself when you see them two play. So I would like it to get back to them settling their difference on the basketball court.
I would, well, and that would mean that everything has been resolved and things are. Yeah. I got to say though, Bill, let's just. I understand the mayor is in belief that if the medical records were to come out, the general public is going to say this gigantic sigh of relief, like, oh, absolutely, now I see what you guys are doing. Mayor, you did this exactly in a proper fashion. I don't know what could be in those medical records that would make people feel that way. I mean, it's the when you talk about process. The process by which they did this. I think it was Joe Marino last night at the senior center that said he was left with no car. They had to turn everything over and no ride home. What way is that to treat somebody who's given this service to the city?
Listen, certainly the optics of this certainly hurts the mayor. There's absolutely no question about it. I don't think he gave it enough thought. But certainly I don't think his intentions was to have Mr. Brooks, Chief Brooks, and Russ walk home.
He did. Ultimately, someone picked him up, but I
don't think Rob thought about it. I really think it was a mistake.
Yeah.
Bill, I'm not trying to take sides. It's unfortunate, and Rob loses. In terms of the perception of how this thing happened.
Yeah. And then, and if I can't, I hate to keep pushing on this, and I will change topics, I promise. But then it was a couple of days later, he had an opportunity the whole weekend to think about this. And it didn't seem that the mayor had any bit of second thoughts at all. Chief Brooks had said on the radio, I'm not going to give up my medical information. They chose that doctor to fire me. That's what that doctor is there for, and I'm not going to give any release to have that out. Why doesn't the mayor give up his? Now, there's a little knock at the mayor. Why doesn't the mayor give up his information on when he was out riding in the snowstorm when he was injured? The very next day, the mayor came out in the Observer-Dispatch and said, I'm taking the chief up on his offer. Now, this is all, these are kind of snide jabs back and forth, but the mayor has to be the bigger one here to be able to say, I'm not going to get in the middle of the muck. And he did seem to be in that when he made that statement in the paper.
Yeah, and I'm not trying to defend the mayor in that regard. I'm trying to tell you how I know the mayor and how I know.
I get it.
The chief. That's all I'm saying. I think it was a terrible thing to do to a person that has served this city for 40 years or better. So I'm not trying to defend, but I also know the mayor loves this city, and he actually didn't give it much thought. He did what he thought he was able to do. I think it was a terrible mistake. I've said that to his face, and I will continue to say that. He has to be the leader of the city, and I agree with you that everybody I have heard, I would say at least 8 out of 10, 9 out of 10, has questioned me, has said they thought it was an unfair way to treat the chief. So,
yeah.
I mean, I'm not going to make any excuses for
Fair
that.
enough, and I appreciate your honesty on it. I appreciate that. I do want to throw a couple of other issues at you. Obviously, a sad story with Peter Fiorello, who one might call maybe the genius behind Utica's financial recovery.
No question about it. I mean, if you met Peter as a person, he was the genius behind the financial package. He was always a very kind person under difficult situations. Even in his last days, you know, he took time out of his treatment to come down and prepare a budget that basically nobody else could do at the time because he knew all the numbers or everything.
Yeah, yeah.
And I felt just terrible every time I walked in his office. Not that he made me feel terrible, just the thought of the fact that, you know, he was going through what he was going in, but he still took the time to serve his city and the administration in preparing a budget that came in at 0-0. So he's just a wonderful person. I mean, you can't meet a better person, and I think I can speak for the council in saying our hearts and prayers go out to his family.
We're talking to Councilman Bill Phillips, City of Utica Common Council. And, Bill, one more topic is, of course, the county executive's proposal for the U District. What are your thoughts on all of it? And I know the OD came out the other day and said, we're all for it, minus the casino. Where are you on this?
Well, I think Tony, the executive, the Oneida County executive, has done a wonderful job in putting together a proposal that, you know, he thinks would be great for the county. One thing you got to keep in mind, and I agree with Tony, that the fact that we have a proposal in front of us that probably entails $60 million or so, you know, coming from the Oneidas and the brewery. It's an opportunity that Tony's fighting for just for the good of the county. So I think the presentation that he gave us, that we saw as a council, he reached out and tried to show us his reasoning for proposing it. And it was a very powerful presentation of the facts, you know, in terms of creating economic development. One of the things that we have to come to grips with is that if we don't generate revenue, it's going to come from the property tax owners solely, pretty much.
Right, it's got to come from somewhere.
So I think he's looking at how do we generate more revenue so that everybody's burden is lessened. It becomes incumbent upon the city, once we make a deal, hopefully in Tony's favor with the Oneidas and the Concito.
Yeah, because they're willing to put $50 million into this.
Yes, and where we benefit from, what people don't realize, you know, it can mean an additional $3-4 million in our coffers that we all get a piece of.
Yeah.
And in turn, we're able to tackle the drug problems and everything a little more because we have more revenue to deal with it.
And do you? I hate to go back to this. Your assessment on this mayor. It does seem, though, that he has gotten into, we'll just call them squabbles with many. He's at odds with the county executive, with Rob Esch and the Odd. I don't think he has the greatest relationship with the state officials. Sooner or later, I mean, to move forward, don't we all have to work together here?
There's no question about that, Bill. I think, though, it's personally a little. I don't know that he's not getting along with the county executive. I think he disagrees with the county executive what should be done, and he has a responsibility to fight for the city of Utica.
Got it. Okay.
So I don't want to portray Rob. I mean, I know Rob personally, and I know Rob can be bullheaded. I mean, he's probably going to, you know, but I know
that just became the headline, by the way, Bill. So,
but I know he loves this city.
Yes,
he loves the job he's doing. He, like any of us, want to be complimented for the job we're doing. But I've sat in rooms with him and told him, hey, Rob, you got to back off.
Yeah.
You know, everybody don't agree with what you agree with. And, you know, so, I mean, I know him differently. I know him a person that loves the city. That's not to say that he has the only answers for the city.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think his behavior has basically cost us too much at all, because I think the area is prospering greatly. We have $1 billion put in up at Nano. We're going to have $1 billion, you know, spent on the hospital downtown, if that happens.
Mm-hmm.
So I think we're doing great. If you walk downtown, the lower downtown, I haven't seen an area so vibrant since I was 4 or 5 years old.
Yeah.
You know, so there's excitement. The only people that's getting in everybody's way are us politicians.
Right.
That we can't get along. But I think the people itself think the area is doing great.
And isn't that the cliche, the Utica way, only in Utica? It's not fair to say that because it's elsewhere, but it does seem like only in Utica. Andrew, final question.
Councilman Phillips, you're the chair of the Public Safety Committee, so I have to ask, what are your thoughts on the downtown hospital? Is that the right place for it, and where do you see it going?
You know, I think it's the right place for it, but let's just, you know, I think anytime somebody's willing to spend $1 billion, you know, in your area, whether it be the hospital itself, the cost of the hospital, and everything that they predict that will swoop around it, I think you, as a city resident, you have to be excited about that prospect. But I do understand the people who has some reservations about it. But the way I see this is that, you know, we're going to have a top-of-the-line hospital, which I've been told, again, I'm no expert on the subject, but I've been told that basically we're going to get the best of the best in here. We're going to have emergency rooms that's equipped for today. Now, it wasn't, certainly I wanted it to be Utica, but I think it was the governor's choice that it be
I think it was too,
downtown, because he thought that would have the most economical impact in the area.
Yeah.
You know, I'm certainly not, as a Utican, going to argue with that. You know what I mean? Certainly, I don't want to hurt St. Elizabeth's. I don't want to hurt St. Luke's. But I think we all can agree that those hospitals are old and outdated, and it's costing lives, people's lives, with the fact that it's not modernized.
I couldn't agree more. And finally, Bill, I lied to you, and I apologize. Andrew's question was not the last one. I have to throw one more in. I want your take. Should Utica have a public safety commissioner that is not held by the mayor?
I think so. I think so. And the reason why I think so, for reasons just like this, I think you get, even though the mayor is ahead of the public safety commissioner, I think it takes a lot of weight off of him if he gets one that is going to be truthful to him, to tell him what he thinks is the right thing to do. I think running the city itself is a big enough chore. I have no problem paying a public safety officer to a commissioner to run the city. So your question to me is a legit one, and I think he should consider that, and I think the mayor will. I think the only reason why he won't, because he thinks he'll be saving them $40,000 or $50,000.
Right. But when we see a situation like this, it would have been nice to have somebody independent that could have said, "Here's what I think, and here's my advice." It could have certainly helped the mayor and helped the city. Bill Phillips, Councilman, we appreciate it. We have to do this again. Thanks so much for taking the time.
Yeah, I just want to say one thing to you, Bill.
Yes.
Thank you so much for putting up with my son.
I love Marcus. Marcus is...
I know you do, and I'll tell you something. Every day I I thank you for putting up with him.
He is together. We were about 3 years too early. We would have had a dynasty by now. It's been a little bit later in our project with Utica Daily News. So
I still hope one day you will have a dynasty.
Well, you never know. So Bill Phillips, thank you so much for taking the time.
Thank you.
All right, have a great day.